Hello everyone! Welcome to Messy Hearts, where we help people who seek advice for their troubled relationships and lives. Listen carefully and share your experience down in the comments below to help those who seek it. We hope you enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's head on to the first story. Story 1. I just had sex for the first time. How do I tell my husband that I want to end our marriage? I have suffered from what my church terms same-sex attraction my whole life. My husband has been my best friend for 30 years, married for 25. He has felt asexual since as long as he can remember. Our relationship has been one of absolute loving, cuddly but celibate best friends, and while unusual, has been satisfying and worked for us. This weekend I attended my 25th high school reunion about 4 hours from where we live. I stayed with Eve, my best female friend from back then. I'm not going into details here. Frankly, I haven't even processed it all yet. We made love several times. I had my first ever orgasms. I felt desired. I felt authentic, real, alive. Neither Eve nor I planned or expected this. I'm shedding a lot of self-deception, determined to actually live my life now. I'm ready to lose some friends and family and being unwelcome at my church, but the thing is, my best friend slash husband slash confidant is totally innocent in all this, and for 2 days I haven't slept much, etc., and he's sensing something is weighing on my heart. How on earth do I ask to just switch him to best friend? This sucks. Thanks for listening or any advice. Edit/update. Thank you all for taking the time to give me much to consider. Amidst the deluge of hate and name-calling, there's been a lot of empathy, encouragement, and thoughtful advice. Thank you so much. Many of you were correct in assumptions about me and our marriage. So here's a bit more detail. I was trying yesterday not to make my post too long. Yes, our marriage was very much to avoid the overwhelming stigma in our raised in faith that goes with staying single, wanting to be chid-free, being gay, etc. We both had and do have great affection for each other, but we're not self-aware enough to figure that the social pressure was the reason for our young marriage, and be honest about it to one another until several years in. We've been comfortable about us in an open, privately of course, and honest way. We joke that we are like secret agents with our own cover story, our main one being that I am, sadly, infertile. I prayed every day since I was a teen for God to take away my same-sex attraction, and then would pray for forgiveness for being angry at God that it didn't happen. My husband, in whom I confided about my struggle long before we married, has prayed beside me in this countless times, but has always been adamant that he prays for my heart to be at peace about the matter, not for me to change. That has always been incredibly meaningful to me, and I've always let him know it. Praying for both of us has increasingly lessened for several years now. Our church attendance is mostly pro forma now. When I'm there now, I find myself looking around and wondering how many others are also there just to be there. No, my husband isn't gay. He's funny, kind, always helping others, the real deal of a man. He's just completely asexual and about a 9 out of 10 aromantic also. No one could ever have a better friend. We've discussed in the last few years, he has brought it up, that perhaps I should have physical relationships with other women to be happy, but I'd always shut that down. Very late last night he told me he knew something was really bothering me, that he had a feeling he knew what it was and that we are going to talk about it tonight. And then he held me for what seemed forever. What advice would you give about this story? Let us know in the comments, and let's move on to the next story. Story 2. My ex tried to cheat. It didn't work out for him though. For some time my ex would sleep with his phone in his pocket, weird red flag, but I never said anything. When I noticed he wouldn't even pull up his phone in front of me, I knew something was up. One night it slipped out of his sweats and I woke up with it near my legs. I was just going to put it on the charger honestly, but I saw he had a bunch of notifications and messages from a dating app. Man, I wanted to slap him awake. But I didn't. So I created a profile using a friend of mine's pictures that he never met, and I had her approval. She was his type 100%, and I knew he loved blue eyes. So when we matched like I knew we would, we got to chatting. We talked for about a week before I suggested meeting up. Flirting, sexual stuff. He told me that he was single and lived with a friend. So I suggested him paying for a hotel room so we could FCK. He said he would. We picked a spot. Mind you, I paid for everything because he was unemployed after losing his job. He drained my savings account over the year with manipulation. We're family, we take care of each other when we're in tough spots, he would say whenever I told him I didn't have extra money. I paid my student loans, all bills of a one-bedroom, and the food. This boy had the ballsack to ask me for money in person. That his mom's birthday was coming up and he wanted to buy her something nice. So I gave him $50. Just because it was hilarious at this point. I still think about the smile on his face in that moment. That weekend he left. Said he was going to his mom's and that he'd probably stay the night. I kissed him goodbye and told him to have a great time. Then I packed all of his stuff and left it outside. I live in a US city, so it went fast. Got the locks changed. He messaged me a few times on the app. I told him I was running late because I wanted to look perfect, but I was coming and so sorry. My friend also sent me some sexy pictures to send him that didn't fully include her face. She's a real one. I even talked him into jerking off and sending me a video. Then after making him sit until about 1 a.m., I messaged him on the dating app a picture of his belongings being rummaged through by a homeless man, and to enjoy his stay in a hotel. As soon as my phone rang, I blocked his number and went to bed. He was outside of my door the Monday I came home from work. Ugly, crying, begging, telling me he was homeless and had nowhere to go. When I wasn't having it, he got angry per usual. Once he started grabbing and trying to get into my apartment, I called the police. Filed a restraining order because he did threaten my life and my pets for putting him out. Found out he ended up moving a few hours away where his only family is, and has a job. Hopefully he learned something. Do you have any advice on this one? Comment down below and let's move on into the third story. Story 3. Caught my 51 years old father cheating multiple times and my 51 years old mother doesn't know. I, 24F, caught my father cheating on my mother right near my house. 2 years ago, I caught my father at a coffee shop 2 weekends in a row with the same woman. The second time I ran into them, he mentioned that she was a part of something from my elementary school. I asked her who her children were from my school and she looked to my father for answers. He answered for her and gave clearly fake answers to cover for them. After this happened 2 weekends in a row, I decided to confront my father. My parents have had issues for a long time, so I approached the situation as sort of an I don't understand what it is like to have been in relationship with someone for 30 plus years, so I am not judging, but I know you have been seeing that woman. He decided to gaslight me and told me I was seeing things and that all women that age look the same. He was even sarcastic in responding to me by saying, "Yeah, you caught me. Didn't you know I'm basically getting married to another woman?" I left and dropped it at that. Flash forward to now. I was driving and saw his car parked in the same area where I had noticed this 2 years ago. I parked my car and saw him and the same woman from the 2 years ago having a drink at a restaurant. I watched them leave the restaurant and saw them kiss multiple times before leaving. I told my sisters about this and we agreed to confront him all together. Not even a week later, I was going for an oil change and I see his car parked there again and he was seated in the front window of a coffee shop with this woman. At this point, I know it's a weekly thing and he covers by saying he has meetings. We confronted my dad a few days ago and it did not go well. He was manipulative and gaslit all of us at times. He said they were friends and that sure, there were some feelings there, but that's all. Of course, we told him we knew it was more than that. He said we didn't understand and that it's not like he's been having some huge affair. Unfortunately, we know the woman as well and she has an entire family and husband as well. We asked him to tell our mother everything or we would, and he said he would sit down with her the next day. He asked us to respect their discussion and not ask her questions after, and the next day when he talked to her, he texted my sisters and I that they are deciding to work things out and let the past be the past and for us to respect that. None of us responded. We 100% know he did not tell her the truth. It would have crushed her, as it is something that has come up in the past when I was about 15 years old. That night they even went out for a nice dinner, and the next day she told my sister how they had a nice talk without going into details. Bottom line is that my sisters and I still feel extreme guilt for my mother not knowing. We do not know what to do next and how to move forward because he can be extremely manipulative and they still live at home with him while I do not. Should we tell my mom, and what is the best way to handle this messy situation? Thank you for watching. All advice is welcomed and will help these people to resolve the things that trouble them. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think. And never forget that your smile is your best feature. Wear it proudly.